Hey guys, this is Bob Perez, and today we're going to be doing the ground and pound Bible. Ground and pound isn't fancy. It's not jiu-jitsu. It's not submission grappling. You have to remember that ground and pound is about fighting. It's about position and doing damage. I'm an MMA coach, but generally focus on striking, and that's what ground and pound is. You want to remember it's about getting position and beating up your opponent. Doing as much damage as possible and always winning your fight. Hope you enjoy it. In my opinion, the most dominant position you can be in a fight, but a lot of fighters actually prefer to not be mounted because they feel that they're susceptible to get bumped off, and rightfully so. But we have to make sure that our mount is stronger than our opponent's escapes. So a lot of times guys, instead of being here, will prefer to be side mount because they just feel like they have more control. Okay? So let's talk about the mount. First thing we want to make sure is that we don't stay on the hips, okay? Because he's strong. Okay? If we're on the hips, we want to make sure that we're heavy, we keep our legs together, and we sit really heavy on him here, and it's going to take his hips away. I can already feel his hips getting weaker, okay? So we kind of ride him and bring our heels in here. Another thing we can talk about is the high mount, being under his arms. Now, we don't want to get too high. We want to be under his arms, and we're going to take away a lot of his strength. This is a great position to start raining down punches. Outside of this, the best way, in my opinion, is to stabilize the mount is once they push off here, which is, like I've said before, very bad for them. We're going to snake one arm through, come underneath the head, flatten out, heels together, and drive our hips in. Now from here we can begin working, okay? So let's try that, guys. See, it's much harder. The top closed guard, closed, referring to him locking his ankles here, obviously. Now, when we're in someone's guard, what do we never do? Why not? He can start working his sweeps, his kimura, different submissions. So we never, sitting inside somebody's guard, do this. Okay? What we can do, we can put our hands in tight here, put my hands here. To an extent, I can control his biceps, control the crease of his arm, control him underneath here. So, two philosophies from being inside the closed guard. Number one is the postured position when we're right here. This is what I prefer for MMA because we have a lot of leverage to strike from. Okay? A lot of leverage. Second is going to be a non-postured position. So, we'll be right here, controlling the biceps, maybe attacking the body in the head, but we don't get that same leverage or same power that we would get from a postured position. So let's work both. Let's work postured and non-postured inside the top guard, please. So everybody got to go? Good. Everybody else? In transitioning from standard side control, what I want to talk about now is the knee ride or knee on belly, which is great for controlling your opponent if you do it correctly, especially in a ground and pound position. From standard side control, we're here, like I said, blocking off 2 of the 4 points that we need to block off. What I'm going to want to do is put my hand on his throat, the other one on his belly. I'm going to push, and he's already kind of breathing harder. Drive this here, having a good base here, not leaning too far forward, not leaning too far back where he can turn into me and escape. Okay? So, once again, from standard side control, we're going to smoothly at the same time transition here. We push up, knee on belly. Okay, let's try that, guys. When you're drilling this, if you don't feel your partner's weight on you properly, or if you feel that they're leaning too far forward, let them know. A couple other basic positions. Sean, let me borrow you. So we've talked about the mount. We've talked about being in closed top guard. We're going to talk about being a half guard right now. Half guard right now is basically a transition between full guard and side mount. Sean's got a couple different options here as well. He can be flattened out on Jeremy, staying very heavy on him. Or when he's ready to strike, he can posture up slightly, sit his butt down heavy, and then start working. So we also have another position that we can briefly talk about, which is the open guard. So he's going to get back in his guard here. And like we said before, the closed guard just refers to the ankles being locked here and him having some control of his opponent in superior position. Once this opens up, he can place one on the ground, both on the hips. This becomes an open guard. So let's work both positions. Let's go ahead and work half guard, flattened out, postured up, and let's just get comfortable inside of the open guard, okay? Let's work both. Everybody kind of just come up. You can just come around. Is side mount or side control. There are many different ways to do this and a lot of different philosophies. Standard side control, the way I was taught, the way that I actually prefer, is remember, when you're in side control, guys, you want to control, he's got 4 points of contact here. 1, 2, 3, 4, shoulders and hips. You need to control 2 of the 4, okay? So, what I like to do is I place left arm here, block off the hip, and I can stay tight to him here, staying heavy, or just kind of get my legs out here, staying heavy on him. What we don't want to do in this position is give a lot of space. We don't want to give space. We want to stay as tight as we can until we're ready to do something. Either mount, so we're transitioning to mount, or working a Kimura, an Americano, whatever, submission, or start punching. So for the first one, here. And he's already kind of breathing. He feels my weight on him. Now, that's standard side control. The problem with standard side control in terms of ground and pound is that we're controlling his body with our hands. So that takes away our ability to punch. We can throw knees from this position that are very effective that we'll go over later. But what I'd also like to talk about now is something to set up your ground and pound. And that is basically a crossface. From this position, and we'll talk about it later, we're going to be able to set up a whole lot of stuff from here. Okay, when we do the crossface, it doesn't matter if your legs are here or here. I want to get under the neck, get under the arm, gable grip, and I don't want his face here. I want his face here. I want him uncomfortable. He's already starting to get a little red. That's fine. It's not a submission. It's just a way to start setting stuff up. So let's try both. Let's start standard side control, give and take, and then we'll work that crossface. Necessarily underneath. I think you were right here, right? You got big shoulders, man. What you're going to want to do...
Up on the jaw?
Feel the difference? Yeah. Yeah, we want to get... You have big shoulders, so use them. And you know how I showed you earlier about the face being, turning the head, and we're going to discuss that later. Strong, weak. So we're going to want to turn that face away from our body. Guys, when we go to that cross face, as we turn their face away from our body, it makes them weaker. It makes everything about them weaker. We push the face of our opponent away from our body. No, let's get this on this other side. Turn that, yeah. Next position that we can be in to strike is the turtle position. Okay, so go ahead and get on all fours. The turtle position, guy, he's just right here, and we're actually on his side. What we're going to want to do is actually just control here, staying tight. And this is what we can start, and we'll move on to this. Get our hook in, look to get the hooks in, take the back, flatten him out. We're just staying tight here. If we want, we can control an arm, whatever. But you just stay tight around his body, and you start working. Okay, so let's work both sides. Key is don't give him space, please. Stay really tight to his side. Let's control that overhook where we control the torso, and let's work, please. Okay? That's it. Very nice. And once again, if your partner, Chang, if you feel that he's just not heavy enough or there's too much space, let him know. You always want to help your partner out. Let's move this guy here. That's it. Get your hips closer to him. That's it. Now work your shots. We'll talk about this later, but from this position is where we can be very selective in our strikes. We can really find a good opening here. We'll discuss that later, but for now, just work on that position. And time. Take them back. Okay, we're going to talk about now, guys, we're getting our hooks in. When we get our hooks in, and a lot of times we'll have to fight for this, but right now I'm just trying to show the basic position. When you refer to getting your hooks in, what we're trying to do is to get inside our opponent's thigh here. And once again, get inside of his thigh here. Why do we do this? Our ultimate goal, because he's still in very defensive posture right here, and he can still do some stuff, he's got to do it immediately. But once these hooks are really deep, this guy on the bottom is in a really, really bad spot. So as soon as we get our hooks in, what we're going to want to do is take our opponent's arms away from him as we drive our hips into the small of his back, flattening him out. A lot of times we call it a surfboard. So Jeremy's going to go ahead and do that. He's going to flatten him out. Yes. I want him a little lower on the back. That's it. And see, as he pushes his hips forward and raises the heels up, he's in a really bad spot here. So Jeremy was just a little high on him. This is perfect. Okay, let's work it, please. Raise those heels up and drive your pelvis forward. It's going to lift their legs and put them in a really, really bad, vulnerable position.
Punches, but you got to keep the pressure right there. That's what's going to keep you release and punch. Yeah. Look how much tighter he was on you. No space in between.
Ground and pound, obviously, you know, referring to being on the ground, pounding your guy out. But people forget that part of ground and pound is actually from this position here, standing position. And we're going to talk about the techniques later. But another position we can strike from is when our opponent is in their shell. Now, when I talk about the shell, they can hold it like this. They can have the hands behind, okay? Hands on the mat, whatever they decide. But this is a shell position, and I want you to get comfortable with this, just kind of moving around, because this is a place that we can strike from, okay? To the grounded opponent, all right? Let's work this position, encircling, and the guy on the bottom, work different ways. Let's spring load the legs. Let's have the hands behind the head, whatever, okay? Let's try it.
Did you get it?
All right, next we're going to talk about different types of strikes. We talked about positions to be in on the ground where we can do damage. Now, striking on the ground is no different than striking on your feet. We want to be technically sound. And when I say that, I mean we don't want to be wild. We don't want to leave the elbows out. We want to corkscrew our punches. So, as simple as it sounds, it's very important that we learn how to throw the straight punch from here. So with a good base, all I'm going to do is, just like I'm standing up, rain down those punches here. Straight punches, out, and back to the face. Now we can use this to either get the knockout, start opening up different types of strikes, open up his guard to pass, whatever, okay? But we don't just throw punches to throw punches when we ground and pound, guys. Just like striking, we're looking for openings as well, okay? And we'll talk about that later. But we don't just throw like wild men. There's a lot to be said for that at times, but for the most part, we want to pick every shot that we throw. We look where his defensive posturing is, where his hands are. That's when we pick our shots. So from inside the closed guard, from a high mount here, I want you to work those straight punches. Once again, focusing on corkscrewing the punch downward. Pick different targets on the face. Look for that knockout on the temple. Look to break the nose. Look for the knockout here on the chin. Don't just throw to throw, okay? And every now and then, and we'll discuss this later, let's control the face. Let's control his face to look for that chin. Boom. Okay? So let's work that, guys. Straight punches from inside the guard. Straight punches only from the mouth. Very technical, guys. And like I said, pick different targets, bro. Pick different targets. You know, this head's here. Look for that temple. Look for the chin. Look to break the nose, okay? And guys, the stomach. Attack the body. Posture up. Attack the body. Yeah, just straight punches, just straight punches. Straights. Pick different targets, Tom, yeah. Pick different targets. Pick the eye, pick the nose, the chin. So we just want to be very deliberate with every punch that we throw. That's it. Every now and then, guys, like I said, put your hands. Okay, next, guys, we're going to talk about angled or hooked punches. So from mount position, I'm tight, my heels are in, controlling his hips. If I'm in the high mount, I might be too high for this. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and get here anyway. If he starts covering the face here from my straight punches, okay, I'm not landing anything. So it's time, this is where I say, to look for your strikes. Okay, we're looking and seeing where we can punch. If he starts defending there, we go back to the straights. Then we start mixing it up. Okay, he just turned right into that one. So, for the hooked or angled punch, he's here. We see this space. You have two different options. We can punch like you would throw a normal hook with the knuckles this way. But a lot of times I really prefer angling the punch upward, coming lead knuckle in. This does a lot of damage. So we can punch like we would throw a normal hook, but I'm not quite landing that knuckle because I don't have the space to turn it over. But if I hold my hand up here, bring it down in this angle instead of this angle, I have a really good chance of knocking him out. We can do the same thing for when we surfboard him out, when we flatten him out. Let's work both. Let's work the surfboard position, throwing your hooked punches, as well as the mounted position. Let's go. Alright, next, different type of punch, the hammer fist. Now the hammer fist can be thrown from many different areas. I really like throwing it from inside the guard or from side mount. But just for the purpose of this demonstration, I want to talk about the hammer fist. The hammer fist is a loose movement, guys. It's not something where we angle the arm and throw it really tightly, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to be loose with the arm as we attack the face, okay? So it's going to be a loose movement, you collapse, okay? It's big gorilla, okay? It's going to be very loose and drop it, okay? So no matter what position you're from, if you mount, doesn't matter, whatever, when you throw that hammer fist, it's going to be loose, very loose. It's going to hurt if we stay stiff. It's going to hurt, but it's going to hurt them a lot more when we're loose from the elbow and just dropping them down, okay? It can be from knee on belly. It doesn't matter. But I want that loose movement. So work different positions, okay, guys? Work different positions. It's that looseness is what we're looking for.
Really nice and happy.
That's it, nice and loose, that's it. Perfect, knee on belly, let's see. Yeah, nice, that's it, very nice. Like I said, guys, it's that looseness of the movement that makes it very powerful. Like I said, it's going to hurt a lot if we're straight and we're just hitting them. But that looseness is going to generate so much more power. Okay, guys, the next strike we're going to talk about is the elbow. Okay? There's a difference between a forearm smash and an elbow. Okay, let's differentiate the two. A forearm smash, what we're looking for here is the knockout. Okay? If I use a forearm smash on somebody, I'm going to drive. The elbow is going to make contact, but it's going to be the bulk of my forearm that's making that contact. And I'm looking to smash my forearm into the jaw, into the temple, into the nose, the chin. That's the knockout. Okay, that is a forearm smash. An elbow is here, and we use it to cut. Same concept, except I'm not coming straight down. I'm looking to graze across the brow, just like we do in striking, Muay Thai. Come across. And this is something when we drill, guys, we need to be very, very careful with. This is a slow motion thing that we need to do. We're just looking to see the trajectory and the angle. So we can work a forearm smash, then we can work the elbow. Now, why do we cut on the brow? We cut on the brow to make them bleed into the eye. They can't see, ref stops the fight. So when we cut, we're looking here, here, bridge of the nose. So anytime we throw these elbows, this is the target area that we're looking for. We're trying to cut. Knockout is going to be here, here, here. Okay, we're looking at the temple, the jaw, the chin for the knockout. Now, this side elbow, just like standing up, a diagonal elbow. So we can work those. From inside the guard, people get really confused here, okay? 12 to 6 elbows are illegal elbows to the head. A lot of organizations may allow you to throw a 12 to 6 to the body. This is a 12 to 6. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, okay? It's illegal to the head always, but some will let it go to the body. Now, if I'm on my back and I throw this elbow, is it a 12 to 6 elbow? No, it's 6 to 12. So, we can also throw the elbow here, and we're going to go over that later, how to throw the elbow from the closed guard. But this elbow here is perfectly legal, as long as we're not passing this imaginary line that goes from the ears. The boxing commission will call it like a sideways mohawk. We have to make sure that we're hitting here, okay? With that elbow, we can't go past this. But once again, perfectly legal, illegal. Okay? Now, he can also throw the elbow at maybe like a 1 to 7. If you can get away with it. He'll come out and angle it downward. So it's not completely vertical up and down. He's just angling it slightly to just try to get his point across, okay? So, let's work those different types of elbows from mount, from guard, guard bottom, guard top. Let's play with it, okay? Side mount. And work the forearm smash as well. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's good. Now the forearm smash, what we're going to want to do is we're going to get leverage here, okay? Actually, a real good way to do the forearm smash, and we're going to talk this later, you have good control here, okay? You're controlling the face. Lift the hand. Boom. That's it. We can also do the same thing to cut. So where we just slide and collapse across. So we put pressure here on the face, making him weak, okay? So forearm smash, knock out, cut across. That's it. Very good. Everybody listen up. I got one more I'd like to go over. Is the up elbow, okay? Chang, get on your feet and show me an up elbow, please. Good. Both hands. That's it. That's an up elbow, guys. And do the same thing here. As the guy, we might have head control, head arm control, whatever. As he postures up and I'm controlling that head, we can come straight up here. Now, it's not a 6 to 12 like I was talking about earlier. It's this up elbow movement here. As he comes up, sorry. As he comes up, right there. Okay, so let's try that. It's rare that you see that. You don't see that enough. Another type of strike that goes extremely unused is the palm, open palm. Nobody uses it. They hurt. I'm sure Boss Rutan and a lot of the pancreation guys would definitely agree. So, open palm, it's not a slap. We're driving the big part of the palm onto the chin, on the side of the ear, okay? So it's very much like a hook, okay? If we're inside the guard and he's controlling my head here, instead of just trying to always come over, let's use our palm. Come straight up. We can do this from every position. So let's try it, guys, okay? Open palm. What if in the fight you hurt your hand, you hurt your knuckles, you hurt your fist? We got to keep striking. So we've got the elbow, we've got the palm, okay? Let's work that open palm.
This soft spot too, right up under the ribs, you can really dig the palm in there.
Bam, all day. So that's one thing. We'll go from here, Bob. If he's got like head and wrist control, we just hit it straight up. Exactly. You know, and it can open you up for the hammer fist, for the straight punches, for whatever. But especially if you mount Bobby, you can go ahead and mount him. And if you start punching and he covers here, we don't just have to hit with the fist or with the knuckles. Open and attack the ear. Attack the ear. His equilibrium will be completely off. You want to throw it just like a hook. Just like a hook. Guys, when we throw that angled palm, we want to throw it just like a hook. And we want that arm bent. We don't want it loose. Here, we want to make as much power as we can in this small surface area. We want to really attack from the mount position the ears. We can either knock them out or their equilibrium's done, okay?
Yes, when you attack that here, we definitely have this arm angled, just like a hook. And we're gonna power. So just angle it, power.
That's what you want. That's very good.
Same thing if he gives the back and we surfboard him out, you know, and we're punching all day long, man. We're looking for that. That's it. Very good. Of course, you want to be careful with the back of the head, but that right there was perfectly legal, perfectly good. Back there, you can really dig those palm strikes in once you take the back. Straight down with the two. Once you have his head turned sideways, once you have the head pushed, you can just straight down. Just straight palm strikes down there. That's it. Volume change. Jeremy, you can get side mount, please, over here. So lay down, please. Come over here, side mount this way, Jeremy, over here.
Okay, the next strike we're going to talk about, guys, is the knee from side mount. And he's already in perfect position. He's in standard side mount. He's controlling 2 points of contact. It's really simple. Now, he can start laying flat out if he chooses to, however he wants, or back up on the knees. When we throw a knee, it's extremely important that we control this hip, but leave a little space. Keep the hand on the mat. Leave a little space to let this knee attack. So we have our opponent controlled here, and we blocked off his hip. When we throw a knee, what we want to do is lift our butt, lift our leg, get this angle. Look at this trajectory. This is what we want when we throw a knee. As he comes down, he slightly bends and drives inward, and then he flattens back out. Okay? So, when he's ready to knee again, all the way up, knee and flatten out. Good. Now, to attack the head, kneeing the head of a grounded opponent, once again, depends on where you're fighting. It's no different, really, but all he's doing, he's going to turn his body more this way. Okay? And then he can start working the knee to the head. And this, like I said, is what's important. He's getting his hips out. He's getting that leverage. He's on the ball of his foot. And he can even lift this knee off. Look at that. Way more leverage. Boom. Again, lift the leg up. And once again, depends on where you fight. Going back to standard side mount, there's another way to attack the head. Arm down so I can show. Okay. Another way to attack the head here, where basically he's just going to lift the knee up like this and angle it down. And then flatten out. And he's going to come back up and attack the head that way. So let's try that knee from standard side mount, being very, very careful with your partner. But once again, this knee's about getting leverage. It's about getting the base knee up, swinging this leg like a pendulum, and driving in, then flattening them out, guys. Knee, position. Knee position. It's very rare, guys, that you see people throw these correctly. I mean, sometimes you just want to give a little damage to maybe, make your guy make a mistake and you can get a better transition, maybe go to mount. But this knee can be brutal. As long as we lift it like a pendulum straight up and blast it. Instruction is basically, it's the kick. We can absolutely use the kick from a down position or from a top position. Now this DVD is about ground and pound, and the definition of that basically is raining down blows on a grounded opponent. But this DVD really more than anything is about striking from any ground position, whether it's defensive or an offensive posture. Now, Jeremy's in the standard turtle position, and we'll go over this later. But when I talk about kicks, he can kick me here. If I lean, he can up kick. Okay, and then myself being from the outside, I can control the leg and kick. I can kick further from the outside. I can stomp the belly. So the kick is definitely another tool that we have from this position. Okay, that was it for that.